O believers. Salams, inshallah Rahman. Coming from our Lord, coming from our Prophet, coming from our Shaykh, to those ones who are holding on tightly in this ahir of the ahir zaman, where the faith, it is like a fire in your hand. The faith, it is like a coal, fire in your hand. Good tidings and salams to those who are not dropping it. It burns, isn't it? Yes, it does. What burns? The sunnah of the Rasulullah alayhi salatu wassalam. Because this whole world, that is the only thing that they are concentrating on, the unbelievers, to bring down the sunnah of the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam. They are not trying to bring down the faith of Islam or a belief in Allah. They cannot. But since 1,400 years until now, the unbelievers gathering together, being good brotherhood together, to try to bring down the sunnah, the lifestyle, the traditions of the Prophet ﷺ and the traditions of his Sahabe Kiram and those ones who follow him, not just tradition of the Prophet. Yes. Nowadays they cut these enemies of Islam, outside and in. Outside the enemies, it is very clear. We can see who they are, and they've been trying for 1400 years. Last they tried, the whole world came together. Whole world came together to bring down the Khilafat, to bring down the Islam in 1915 in the Battle of Chanakala, which the Muslims, they owe their religion and they owe the sharaf and they owe the honor to those ones who stood in front of the unbelievers and defended the Khilafat, because their idea was to bring down the Khilafat. The French and the British open up the way for the Russians to come in from the north, and a handful of the soldiers, Mehmetchik, little Mehmets, understand now why they call themselves Mehmetchik, little Muhammad. Yes, little ones who are representing that one who is defending Islam. They came together, a handful of them, to defend a small strip of land with no equipment, no shoes, no food, no ammunition, against the superpowers of the world. Superpowers of the world. With all the highest technology, with so many soldiers that they took, not only from their lands, but the lands that they conquered. From Australia, from New Zealand, from Africa, yes, from the Muslim countries, from India, from the Middle East, from Africa. They are taking the Muslim soldiers, making them to fight against the Khalifa. So the enemies outside, they're not able to penetrate, because with that handful of soldiers, Turkish soldiers, because the rest of the ummah, this is historical fact, you don't like it, deal with it. This is history. The rest of those ones who call themselves Muslims belonging to different nations, forget about it. The Arabs, they already stabbed the Ottomans in the back. And the rest, yes, we are carrying that guilt and that burden. Our forefathers helped to try to bring down the Khalifa, but they did not succeed. And because of that, Islam, Ahl Sunnat Aqidah is still holding strong. What is Ahl Sunnat Aqidah? The Sunnat of the Rasulullah ﷺ and the Sunnat of those ones who are following him, not just his Sunnat. Because Islam divided into more than 73 different divisions. And all of them are in the wrong way, except for one. Holy Prophet ﷺ is saying, and there is a condition to that. Which one? Every one of the 73, they're going to say, we are the right ones, but there is a condition. The condition is those ones who follow my sunnah, Holy Prophet ﷺ is saying, and the sunnah of my sahabis. And he's saying in another hadith, yes, following my sunnah and the sunnah of the sahabis, those ones who are following me correctly, those ones who are in the majority. And anyone who takes away from that, and anyone who adds things in, which is called a bid'at, that time, all innovation, it is wrong. And all bid'at is going to end in the hellfire. They're cutting that hadith. Just to concentrate on the last part. Bid'at, bid'at, bid'at. Everything is bid'at. Because, of course, if the ummah forgot about Chanakala, that we owe our Islam to, if the ummah forgot about the Khalifatullah, if the ummah forgot about the traditions of the Holy Prophet ﷺ that was continuing for 1400 years, if the ummah is saying, now we follow new style, Wahhabi style Islam, now we follow new style, secular, kafir style Islam, Western style Islam, and when the Muslim civilization, Islamic civilization, the Islamic empire, the Ottoman Empire, that for 700 years ruled properly and correctly, they are all on top of our heads, and they are all finding safety in the highest stations in the paradises in the presence of their Lord. If the Muslims are made to forget and their civilization is destroyed, that time you can fool around with them as much as you want, because Muslims forget about their past. Once you forget about your past, you don't know who you are. If you don't know who you are, you think you know where to go. If you forget about your past, imagine now, you go to sleep at night, okay? You know who you are, you know what your name is. You go to sleep, you wake up, and you forget your name. You forgot where you came from. You forgot everything. And somebody coming in and saying, no, you didn't forget. You forget. It's okay. I'm going to tell you what your name is. This is your name. This is where you live. This is what you're doing. These are your friends. Completely what? Reinventing your lives. That is what happened to Islam. Since that time, when the Khilafat fell, up till now, the 1900s, 1923, they have been trying to reinvent Islam. Reinvent Islam. Ilmul Islam. Ilmul Islam. What is that? Moderate Islam. Meaning, they want kafir and Islam together. They like kafir lifestyle. And they like Islamic lifestyle. Big shaitans, these ones are. So, for example, women, very good, they wear hijab. Some say, no, I like to wear hijab. But they put on their heads, we put on our head what gives us honor. Not what gives us honor, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Prophet has given honor. It is obligation for us to put on our heads. That's why we're wearing the turban. It is a crown of the believers. Every prophet wore a turban. All the angels, they're wearing the turban. And when Jibril alayhi salam came to the presence of the Holy Prophet alayhi salam, in the figure of a man, representing a man, he was wearing a turban, carrying a cane, wearing a jubbah, the full sunnah of the Prophet alayhi salam. Ilm al-Islam, they're saying to our women, since women, you're so soft, you like fashion, you like to look beautiful, you like to cover, it's okay to cover, but put the turban on, put the hijab on, and it says Chanel, what is it? Hermes, what other? I don't know. What are these companies? These are Muslim companies? These are Yahudi companies. These are unbeliever companies. who is holding on to the fashion of what? Prophet ﷺ? No. That they are dictating to the whole world. This is how you're going to dress like. They say you cannot change that. But there's some of the Muslim women, at least wear designer hijabs. Moderate Islam. So that when the kafirs, they look at you, they say, oh, mashallah, you have so much taste. We like you. Let me give shahadat because you're wearing Chanel on your head. It happened? It ever happened that way? Muslims have lost because they're doing it the ego way. That is ego. That is reinventing Islam according to their own ego. Forgetting what Holy Prophet ﷺ has brought, what his Sahaba Kiram has brought, what the Salihin, Awliya Allah, they have brought for 1400 years, that they brought, they didn't just bring and live a luxury lifestyle. Every one of them, they came and they lived the most hard lifestyle, and they gave their wealth, they gave their comfort, they gave up their children, their sons and their daughters, their fathers and their mothers. They gave their sweat and they gave their blood. For who? For us. Yahudis do a better job in remembering how they have suffered for their faith. Muslims, cultural amnesia, religious amnesia. And they're giving us the drugs and we're taking it. They're giving us the world and we're taking it. And we're falling into a ghaflat and we're not remembering. We're not giving thanks. We're not giving shukr. And we're not saying astaghfirullah alazim wa atubu ilayh. That time we also lose our vision. That time when we lose our vision, we are fooled. If you are fooled and you don't have the vision, you're not a believer. Because Holy Prophet ﷺ is saying, beware the vision of a believer because he looks with the nur of Allah. A believer cannot be fooled. And a believer is not going to fool. And a believer is going to remember the promise he made to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of promises. The day of promises. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, Alastu bi rabbikum. Qalu bala. Am I not your Lord? And we say, yes, we are. Recognizing you are our Lord. We obey you. We ask help only from you. Ya Rabbi. We forgot our promise. Because now we made promises with dunya. We made promise with the dunya and saying that before I die, I promise I'm going to have 100,000 for my kids, at least. I'm being very cheap now. Because especially in America, they say at least 500,000. That was 10 years ago. Before I die, I must have this house, this car, this thing, this, that. So many plans for the dunya. And not deviating from those plans. Plans for akhirat. Allahu Alam. No, brother, please don't make life difficult for you. Just pray 5 times a day. Like a thief, quickly go up and down. No need to do all these things. What? Allah doesn't want you to suffer. He wants to make it easy for you. Give good news to people. Of course. When the situation is good, you have to give good news to people. But when the situation is bad, when the person is sick, you're not going to say, no, you're okay. Go ahead. You're going to say you are sick. That is a good news. Now take the medicine. You're going to be well. That is a good news. But on the day of promises, if we are connected to our Shaykh, if we are connected to Awliya Allah, we are connected to the ones that we are belonging to. They don't belong to us. Don't make no mistake. They don't belong to us. We belong to them. Prophet ﷺ doesn't belong to us because he's Rahmatul lil Alam. He's not just to us, but we belong to him. We are the reason. He is the reason why we are created. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, if it were not for you, if it were not for you, Ya Muhammad, I would not have created the universes. So on the day of promises, you think that day there were no prophets? There were no salihin? There were no saints? There were no holy ones that Allah has created in that station? Democracy, the poison of democracy. Everyone equal. Now they're putting confusion into the ayat of Amana Rasul too. Didn't Allah say all the prophets, they are equal? So, and they're confusing the man. That means that holy prophet is not, because Amana Rasul is saying all the prophets, they are equal. What are they equal in? They're equal that they are creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They're equal in that all of them, they submit themselves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, saying, Samina wa ta'ana gufranaka rabbana wa ilaykal masir. But they are not equal in station. They're not equal in their closeness to Allah. They're not equal in the taqwa. So on that day of promises, it is not like everyone is equal and Allah is there and we are there in front of Allah. No. You think Allah for nothing is saying in the Quran Kareem that on the judgment day you'll be raised behind the imams? You think that day there were no imam, no sheikhs, no leaders, no prophets? We were behind that holy prophet. And it is with his mercy, and it is with his rahmat, and with his full blessing that we made that promise. And we say, Qalu Bala. And we make the sajda and we submit. But don't be fooled. We were not behind Holy Prophet. So many, so far away, so many people before us. Who were we behind? We're behind our Shah. And he was the one who made us to say, Qalu Bala. But people have forgotten the promise. Because they think the Shah belongs to them. And they can change the Shah and his words and his rules and his laws and his legacy any way that they want. They want to reinvent tariqah. Just as the enemies of Islam outside and inside want to reinvent Islam. They want to reinvent associations, reinvent the way, reinvent the sunnah of the Prophet. They say the Shah belongs to us. We can tell the Shah what to do. We can say to the Shah, I don't agree. I think you are wrong. I think you are right. I think. This is what we enter the tariqat from. This is what people know how to talk shariat, tariqat and hakikat. This is, calm down before that, calm down. Don't get too excited. Talk from the level of human. Talk from the level of haya, modesty. Modesty to know that one is a Shah, not us. And we are supposed to say, Samina wa ta'ana. Holy Prophet ﷺ has said in the Hujjatul Wada, the last khutbah, the farewell khutbah, which they cut in these days too, the one who betrays Effendi. The one who betrays Effendi, listen carefully. The one who leave and betray and cause confusion and go out from the Siratul Mustaqim. The one who, after they believe, they disbelieve. They're not going to find shafaat, and Allah is not going to forgive them. Check it out. They cut that, but it's there. Especially Turkish people, they know this. So how are you betraying your Effendi? That's a big question that we should ask. How are we betraying that promise to Allah? How are we betraying that promise to our Holy Prophet ﷺ. Because we want to reinvent this way. No permission. It is not our way. This way does not belong to us. It belongs to him. This way, this association, belongs to Sahibul Saif. He is there. He is there. He is everywhere. Now he is everywhere. The sword is there. It is here. The sword is not inside. It is outside. So continue a little bit more to be arrogant and to be stubborn. The sword is out and is giving you a time. 7 days pass. Not waking up. 40 days pass. Not waking up. 70 days going to come. 100 days going to come. And every mark, every milestone comes with a heavier price and a heavier commitment and a heavier power. Believe me. Now people are going to come to the road. You're traveling on the road, but you want to deviate. You want to break away. Because why? I don't like it. This road is too hard. Why? Because I'm hurt. Somebody took my rights. Somebody said something to me. I don't like it. Person is not even consulting, but just saying, oh, you know, these things are happening to me. It's not proper. Talking here, talking there. Not consulting. Come to the road, and you come to a pass, a fork in the road. Which way are you going to go? This way. Nobody said it is easy. But forget Shariat, Tariqat, and Hakikat. Just haya, modesty that is coming with faith and intelligence. That modesty is going to say, who am I? Who am I? What is my maqam? In the bathroom, in the toilet. That is my maqam. What is my maqam? I'm trying to be a servant. I'm not even a good servant. What is my maqam? I'm trying to be a murid. I'm not even being a good murid. What is my maqam? Put yourself low. Don't put yourself high. Say to yourself, you're a donkey. I am a donkey. Say to yourself, I deserve worse than this. But Allah and His mercy and the Holy Prophet ﷺ and our Shaykh giving me everything. If you really believe that your ego is worse than Shaitan, not purely believing, it's worse than Abu Jahil, worse than Abu Lahab, worse than Namrud, worse than Firaun, that time you're going to accept. Haya, the modesty is going to make you to say, even if this happens, it happens because of my Shaykh. Let me be patient. Then something will open up. If you are wrong, your station is going to rise. Because why? You are patient. If you are right, and because you are patient, your station is going to rise even higher. So, you come now to a division in the road. Which way are you going? Siratul Mustaqim is one, not two. Are you trying to reinvent? Or are we holding on to that way? That way it is open. You may not like it. You may have differences. So what? Unity doesn't mean everyone is the same. That's communism. Unity means everyone is different, but the miracle is they are together. Under one, under that leadership, under that one that Allah and His Prophet has appointed. Not under the ego. Are you willing to swallow and to ask and to be patient? As a believer, it is obligation. As a believer, we're following Hazrat Ali. was saying, even if someone does something to me, Ya Rasulullah, Prophet is asking to him, someone does something wrong to you, will you forgive? He says, yes. What if after that he does something to you again, will you forgive? He says, yes. He says, after that, will you forgive again? He says, yes. Holy Prophet ﷺ is saying, if he does that again, what are you going to do, Ya Ali? Hazrat Ali, Karamallahu Wajh, saying, as you know, Ya Rasulullah, even if he does that, does wrong to me after I do right to him, until Judgment Day, I will continue to forgive him and to help him. That is our role model. That is our Shaykh. Not to say, somebody did something wrong to me, I'm hurt. It's not a behavior of a Muslim, of a believer, of a murid. Murid has a right. Servant, a murid, has a right. We should ask. Our promise to our Lord, to our Prophet, as belonging in this way, is our promise to our Shaykh. And our promise to him is to continue his way. To be united, we have differences, but to be united. Everyone to work. United to do something is not to be united to sit and to eat or to drink or to have fun. There is a work to do. There is a huge work to do. He left it to us and he's saying, which one of you are going to carry the work even if it kills you? Which one of you are going to carry the work even if your family is taken away from you? Your wealth, everything is taken away from you. Sahaba Kiram did the same. Or are we going to say, no, I like to do the work, but I don't like this person, I don't like these people, I don't like, hey, you haven't come out from that station yet? What are you? Our promise to our Shaykh is that is our bayat, dunya and akhirat. And our bayat to him, we cannot break. If we do, we're going to fall under the category of what Holy Prophet ﷺ is saying in that farewell sermon, farewell khutbah, before he passed from this world. Do not betray your Effendi. No matter what happens, do not betray him. Do not betray that one that has been appointed to you. Holy Prophet ﷺ saying, do not betray your Khalifa. Do not betray your Amir. Do not betray. Even if a slave is appointed in my place to be representing that leadership, do not betray him. Even if his nose is squashed, do not betray him. Even if he takes the skin of your back, don't betray him. That time you're not going to find safety in dunya and akhirat. You take your Prophet's words lightly, there's only one place that you're going to go with that. So, check ourselves. I need to check myself, every one of you, every one of us. We need to check ourselves to see how we have betrayed our Effendi, his work. It is not according to everyone's interpretation also. That is how they reinvent Islam. It is according to successorship, what has been appointed, what the main work is, and how the majority it is going. Then that time, we're continuing, we're swallowing even things that we don't understand and we don't like, which it is a fact of tariqat. We're not in tariqat because we love everyone is like us. No, there's no taste then. The Shaykh is going to put you next to the person who's completely opposite to you, for you to rub against each other, and for you to be refined, and for you to become a diamond. My words to you and to myself, there is only one way. For us, for the murids of our Shaykh, there is only one way. There is not two. There is a work ahead. Yes, we have to be together, because the enemy inside of us is never sleeping and is working day and night. Who is the enemy? Our ego, is never sleeping. Our shaitan is never sleeping. The dunya and the hawa that we carry inside our hearts, they're never sleeping. They're always wanting to open the door to let the enemies from outside to enter and to break it up. We're almost at the end of the race. Don't be fooled by your ego. Swallow. Rise above that anger. Step on that anger. Be a human. And be a patient. In time, Allah will open a door for you to go to higher stations. The only station we're looking for is a station to see our Shah again. That is the only station. And for him to smile at us. Inshallah. Say Afirin. We live for that. We're going to die for that. Nothing else. Pleasing him is pleasing Sultan al-Awliya. Pleasing the Holy Prophet ﷺ. Pleasing Allah Jalla wa'ala. Keeping our promise that we made to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of Kalubala. Keeping our bayat and our shahadat intact. Otherwise, we will lose. We will lose so much. And we're going to cry a lot. And those ones who are doing it and others are following, they're going to be responsible for every single one of them. They're going to carry their burden and it's going to crush them. Signs are already showing. Certain things are going out of way. Certain things are crushed. Doctors are saying there's nothing wrong with you. But you know there is something wrong with you. Because it's the spirit that is sick, not the body. Astaghfirullah al-azim wa atubu ilayh. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Ila sharafi Nabi Mustafa Rasulullah. Sahib al-Sayyid. Hazin al-Ghaibin al-Fatiha. Amin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Welcome to you. Welcome to me.